You're listening to Spark TV, where we bring you daily interviews with real women in business at all stages. I'm your host, Danielle Lewis, and I am so grateful to have you here. Amazing. Chloe, welcome to Spark TV. I'm so excited to have you here.
So good to be here. Yay.
Now, let's start out by telling everyone who you are and what you do.
So I call myself Chloe Adriana, the Pussy Queen. I
Ooh.
am a self-love and sexuality coach specifically for women and female-bodied beings.
Wow, I have never had a sexologist or the pussy queen on the podcast. I'm
Yeah.
slightly intimidated.
Don't be intimidated. You're already obviously doing well. You those roses in the background you bought for yourself, so you're killing
Well, that's all I have to do then. Oh my God, amazing. So tell me what this means. So who would come to you? What kind of state would somebody be in where they're like, I need your help?
Usually, there's a few different like entry points. There's people who come in who are really just stuff in life. You know, they've got a job, maybe they've got a partner, they're doing the things, but there's just not that like feeling of aliveness and joy that other people seem to have. So that's like an entry point. That was kind of my entry point. Oh, actually, mine was more of a like things are going really bad. Things are
Yeah.
spiraling out of control. My mental health is not good. My
Mhm.
direction is not well. And yeah, that more of like I'm lost or I'm stagnant, or
Yeah.
like people who have already done a bit of self-development work and they really are experiencing a lot of yeah, more life and joy from it, and they want to go deeper, especially with that's usually people who want to go deeper with sexuality. It's usually one of the
Mhm.
last things that people tend to look at in their terms of self-development, which is kind of funny to me because it's also one of our greatest joys and things that we talk about the most and that you see on TV and stuff the most.
Yes, well, I don't want to admit this, but I am watching maths at the moment, so it is
Oh, that's fine. That's
quite a topic of
it's
conversation.
fascinating.
But it is really interesting because you didn't say sex. You didn't say that there's an issue with sex, so that's why people come to you. You talked about life and being stuck or being lost and direction and energy. So that's super fascinating I feel like when I heard sexologist, I was like, oh my God, we're gonna have like raunchy conversations and it's gonna be crazy. And I'm so intimidated. So I kind of love that you were like, no.
Yeah, I'm slightly different than a
Point.
sexologist because I do like a focus on the love element as well and the self-love. My teachings are based in Tantra, which is very much about like life through the lens of love, and sex and our pleasure and stuff is also like I think if there's not like a really deep sense of like I love myself, that it can feel a bit empty. Um I used to have plenty of kind of pornographic sex, you know, like, oh yeah, doing that position, but it feels like, eh.
Meh, yeah.
Yeah. But
Yeah.
once I really knew my body and knew myself, like that's when it got juicy and X-rated. Um,
Wow.
yeah.
It's so interesting, isn't it? And I really love that you brought it back to the concept of self-love. I think, especially we've got, I would say 100% female audience, but mostly women in business.
Yeah.
And, I think when you add in the stress of business and like so many of the women in our network are also mothers, they have families, some are
Mhm.
carers, some are just, us human beings trying to get through the day.
Totally.
But when you add a business on top of all of that, I feel like self comes last most of the time.
Yeah, it's so easy. I think that business can often be quite a masculine um,
Mm,
process. It's very or like goal orientated, driven, like deadlines, and literally in my work to bring in more of the feminine, more of the flow, more of the slowness, more of the listening to your intuition, and that's what I
mm,
really try to bring into my business is that balance. And like a lot of my programs, literally have a self pleasure practice before I create them, so that they're like
wow.
based more on like this creative because actually our pleasure and our creative center are connected. Um,
Wow.
so actually, I think that people who are, can I swear?
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Oh my God. Yeah. This
Yeah.
This podcast is called A Wine With. So normally we have wine with
Amazing.
Sarah,
Yeah.
but it's too early in the morning for that.
People who are well fucked by someone or by themselves are usually a lot more happy and creating a lot better things. Like that quote
Wow.
from Legally Blonde. She's happy people, like people that don't kill their husbands and they make better businesses.
Exactly. That is hilarious. And I know and I just love though that you brought it back to self as well, because I don't want to sit here and be like, you need a man to be happy. Because I
No.
feel like you don't.
No, you don't. Like loving relationships are amazing, but I'm not in one and I'm still really happy. And yeah, I know lots of people in relationships who are not happy. So it just starts with yourself and then build the rest from there, I
I
think.
love that. I also heard once somebody said, when you're having an orgasm, that's when you should be doing your manifesting because you've got
Yeah,
like all of this crazy good energy.
that is a correct thing. It's called sex magic.
Oh my
It's
God,
one of
this is so good. It's so good.
one of the most powerful manifestation tools. Yeah, it's really good.
Oh my God, I think that's genius. And nobody takes anything else away from this conversation, that is
I
it.
want to do some sex magic.
Yes. Oh my God, it's so good. So how did you even get into this?
Well, I was actually a primary school teacher.
Hmm.
Um, and I was a professional fairy before that, and
Love that. I love that. Seems like an awesome job.
both amazing jobs. And sometimes it seems like a strange segue, but to me, it was actually really seamless. I ended up traveling. I left teaching. I was really unhappy. I found out, a missing father came back, and all the just big, big things
Wow.
happening in my life that I couldn't deal with. I just ran
Mm,
away to Africa and Europe, and ended up living in a self-development community for 7 months,
wow.
which was like focused on tantra and all these things I'm talking about, just like a day in, day out. And I reached a point where I was like, I love this so much. Like, I love it more than teaching kids. I want to do it, and I started running
Mm,
workshops. And then I was like, I love this and I'm really good at it because I'd already
mm.
learned to be a teacher. I'd already learned as a fairy to present. And I just like fused these things together and was like, I'm going to go home to Australia and study. Like, what can I study? And I found a sex love relationship certification that was a year-long certification and dove into that. And yeah, just kind of snowballed from there.
I love that. It's so interesting, isn't it? How every life experience builds,
Yes.
there's nothing that's ever a waste in our life, even if we feel like we're taking a bit of a detour.
I love that. As I love hearing people's life stories and especially women in business. It's like, oh yeah, that being a cashier for, that long, it was completely relevant for me to do
Yeah.
kids. Or I worked for Lego for a while, like doing these like shows and like, yeah, a lot of when I present at festivals, it's very like got a fantastical like show element to it because I'm talking about stuff that makes people really nervous. So I need to be funny and I need to like make it palatable. Yeah. I
Yeah,
love that.
I know it is interesting. So I worked for Telstra for 10 years and people were always like, that must have been so boring. And I was like, well, sure, by the end of it, it was. But when I think about then I went into business, I was like, but now I know how to, email etiquette. I know how to send a proposal. I know how to hold a meeting. I know how to, like, it gave me all of those foundational skills so I could walk into my business and go, oh, I kind of know what to do for that bit of it. Don't get me wrong, there's a lot of stuff I didn't know how to do, but yeah,
Yeah,
I
you
just
probably
love
had a
that.
lot more up your sleeves than other people, like coming in with nothing. Yeah, I love
Yeah,
that. I don't think anything is a waste. And maybe it was a lesson of what to never do, but it was still a lesson. Yeah.
definitely. And I think sometimes people think, oh, I'm starting all over. And it's like, no, you're not. Like starting now with this, like it's just the next step. Like you're
Yeah,
walking up a set of stairs and that's just the next step that you're taking. It just looks a little different than the last step.
absolutely. I love that. Yeah.
Oh, incredible. So I actually had one of our networking calls for Spark this week, and we had a beautiful Spark member who's going through a bit of a tough time in business. And so I always want to ask when I have someone amazing like you on. So if somebody is in that stuck phase, so they have just poured their heart and their soul and their money into
Mm.
their business and they're just feeling like things aren't gelling, things aren't working. Do you have a suggestion on where someone might start?
Mm, it's I would call that like a little death is happening, I would
Mm.
say. And like death is a part of life. Like we all go through cycles as women actually bleeding, those who bleed, like that's a little death that we have every cycle. And that it's a really good invitation to go within. Like if she, I would invite her to just stop pushing, stop trying to grab
Mm.
at straws and actually just like let it all fall away, sit in the like the despair or the grief, the like, fuck this, like I've tried so hard and this isn't working, and actually go into that a bit. And usually when we go in, same with like resting on our period rather than just taking painkillers and pushing on, like if we actually go
Yeah.
in, and there's so much wisdom inside of that, and maybe actually there's a whole different version of her business wanting to be born, or want actually something needs to just actually be cut out. And in a way, I don't know what wisdom, like there's I would say there's something that's wanting to be reborn or reworked.
Mhm.
But
Wow.
yeah, stop. It's usually when we're pushing, it same like a relationship when we're just trying to make it work. It's like, what if we just let go and
Mm.
see what happens then? That's
Oh my
that's
God, I love that. I just had that moment of like, oh my God, after all of my meetings this morning, I'm gonna go and do this for myself. It's gonna go and let the voices in, let them have a chance.
totally, yeah. And it's often sometimes stuff we don't want to hear, and but we know it anyway. You hear it and
Yeah.
you're like, ah, fuck's sake.
Yeah, I
Yeah,
know,
I know.
I know. And
I
you're like, oh,
know.
you've said that before, and I just keep ignoring
I just
you.
kept ignoring it. It just doesn't go
Oh
away.
my God, that is so true. I know. I often think that sometimes when I'm spiraling and I have those moments of like, what do I do? How do I solve this problem? And it's like this, the same answer keeps coming up. And I'm like, have you done that yet? No. Have you done that? No.
I would
Maybe
call
you
that like
should
our
try
wise
that.
woman, or like our intuition, or our wise woman. Like it, the kind of patriarchal go it doesn't really respect, like just like our society doesn't respect elders, like
Yeah.
doesn't respect that deeper, more subtle wisdom that doesn't make sense
Mm.
logically, but it makes sense on a deeper level. Yeah.
Yeah. And I know it's interesting. I think perspectives are really important. It's just interesting that you mentioned that people don't respect elders. And it's funny because I know, potentially some of them, maybe their ideas are a little outdated when it comes to some things, but I don't think it is when it comes to everything. I think there's real value in, and because it's like anything, when you have a conversation with anyone, you don't have to take everything. You can take the parts that are relevant to you and that will help you move your life forward.
Absolutely. Yeah, of course.
Mm.
It's not like just because someone's an elder, we need to sit down and listen to everything. It's like, but they've been on the planet for double, triple the amount of time I am. Like they've got some kind of life skill going on because they're still here.
Yes.
Like,
Yes.
they've got a house, they've paid off a mortgage, they've raised kids or whatever. Like there's some
Yeah.
kind of wisdom going on. Just might need to sift to find it. It's like, well, they're amazing at packed lunches, or I don't know. It could be something small,
Yeah.
like, or it could be something pretty big.
I know. I remember when I was like having that moment of because I guess probably the first business owner in my family. And I was like, I don't even know anyone that would run a business and rah, rah, rah. And then I, was really pushing against, I don't want your advice, like, rah, rah. And then I had to kind of check myself. I'm like, well, my parents do have their house paid off and they have raised a family and have done this. They must have done a few things right financially, as opposed
Yeah,
to said business owner who just dumps all of her money in and then is like going, oh my God, what am I going to do? And then, but I don't want to take advice from you sensible people.
totally. Yeah, there's a little ego game that can come out, and like it'll make me a failure if I dare to take advice from my parents or something. Yeah, my mom's
Oh my
always
God.
given me business advice.
Yeah.
Know what? My mom's a badass. She was such a CEO, like boss in her time. And if I
Oh,
think about my childhood, I've just like all these memories of hearing my mom on the phone being like, no, sorry, that's not good enough. Like we need a, and I've got that like authority in me to believe. I mean, I do a pretty niche business. I've literally had
mm,
accounts deleted because Meta doesn't
yeah.
allow me to advertise, and I've had to have a staunchness about me that I
Wow.
totally got from my mom. Yeah.
Yeah. So how did you go about taking this wisdom, these skills, this education, this journey that you went on? How did you go about then turning that into a business?
Yeah, I love that question. I think like the main thing that I honestly did was started running a monthly event called
Mm,
Pussy Palace. And it's
cool.
just like it's like a women's circle, if you've heard of women. Yeah, it's like
Hmm.
that. But also sexuality is allowed to be spoken about, which it's just there's not often spaces for that. Um,
Mm.
and I just ran that every single month. And I've run it every single month for 5 years now. Um,
Wow.
yeah,
In person or online?
in person.
Oh my God, how good.
Yeah, and that when I think about it, it just like created this consistent platform. I ended up
Mm,
turning it into a 5-day retreat because I was like, it was just, at first I had I think 3 people and then it was sold out like 25
yeah.
people every single month. And I was like, people really love this. What if I did lots of days of this? And like, so, like that became a retreat. And then it was like the courses grew from there and one-on-one coaching from there. And like everything just pretty much grew from there if I,
Mm.
yeah, peel it back.
I love it. I was talking, we hosted actually the founder of the Plotline Journal on our one of our Spark calls this week, and she was looking at basically taking the journal concept and moving it into a like a membership and community. And she's like, how do you even get started? And I was thinking about it because she's like, well, how did you start Spark? What was that like? And I kind of had the same thing. I was like, well, I'm just going to do this thing. And I just committed to, I'm going to show up, even if no one else does. And so then it just took all the pressure off. And I was like, I know I need this space. So I'm just going to sit here. And if nobody joins my Zoom call, that's okay. But I've
Mm.
still shown up and I booked it in the diary and I was there every week, whether it was 0 people, 1 person, and now it's like lots of people. But it is that it's just consistently showing up for the people in your community who need it, and it will grow.
It will. Yeah, it just will. I think that commitment and like dedication is sexy.
Mm.
Like it's just
So sexy.
it's so sexy. Of course, there's months like with my event that I was overseas and whatever, and like didn't
Yeah.
run it. But like as a backbone, it was happening. And that same with whether it's just an email or just a post or just a
Mm.
like my consistency grew out into other things that I'm very consistent with. Um, and I do know that that's quite hard for a lot of people.
Yeah.
It's really hard. The
There's this great like image I've just seen about consistency actually. And it's like we think consistency is, and it's kind of got all of these cups that are full of water. And then it's like what consistency really is. And it's like then they're at all different levels. And it's like, yeah, you do it every day or every week or every month or whatever it is. But sometimes it looks a little bit different, depending on our energy and whatever. But as long as you're showing up in some capacity, you're still showing up.
Yeah. Yeah,
Mm.
absolutely. So I think that like that's often I also have a lot of entrepreneur friends. That's the main piece of advice is like choose the thing that you within your reach can show up to and then
Yes.
just do that thing with one post or one event. I mean, a monthly event is kind of a lot. So like maybe it's just every
Mm.
6 months or yeah, just something that's consistent. Yeah.
I love that. And so you talked about, things like posting, so I assume social media, uh, emails, that kind of thing. Like, how have you grown the business? What have been the things that have worked for you to spread the word?
My mailing list, definitely. Yeah. Having, yeah, had my Instagram account deleted.
Oh my God, was that devastating?
Oh, it was horrible. Like so traumatizing to be honest. It was
Mm,
um yeah, especially because you don't know why and you can't like yeah, it was actually the Australian government because they deleted my Instagram and then my Facebook because they were attached and I got the Australian government business ombudsman to get my Facebook account back, but they wouldn't give me my Instagram account back. So that's cool. That was like a
wow.
good one on the Australian government.
That's
Came and advised
amazing.
me to do that. And I was like, okay. And yeah, they could talk to Meta. No one can talk to Meta, but the government.
Yeah.
Um,
Wow, that's crazy. Because
it's
every
crazy.
conversation I've ever had with anyone about Facebook is like you basically just go through all the channels, get frustrated, and give up eventually.
Yeah.
Every now and again you get lucky, but that is incredible.
That was pretty wild because I was like, come on, Facebook's not even like I do promote my business, but it's personal. I've had it since I was
Yeah.
16. Like, give me my thing back.
Yeah.
So that was a win. But in having my Instagram account deleted, and I've actually only just gotten back to the numbers that I had back then, um,
Wow.
2 years later. So it was a massive, massive blow. And but in that, the wisdom was, oh, okay, any on social media audience is not mine. I don't
Mm,
actually own that. And another institution owns that. So I realized the only thing I really own is my mailing list. That's
mm.
they're like that's sacred to me, my mailing list. And I love writing. I'm writing a book. I'm pretty like I'm
Wow.
a lover of writing. So I really nurture my audience with, I think, pretty high quality like stories of my own journey and clients and then the events and whatever that's coming up. Yeah, so that has just
That's
steadily
cool.
grown every year. Um, and then also presenting at different festivals and events. And
Cool.
I've not done massively a lot of podcasts, but I have definitely done some. And
I
word of
love
mouth is also just powerful. Word
You
of mouth.
can't beat it.
That's
Hey.
how I found Spark.
Really?
He came to my workshop and told me about our
Oh my
sex.
God, I love that.
Yeah,
So
yeah,
wild. It's like in real life stuff still happens. Like everyone
yeah,
gets so obsessed with the Instagrams and it's like, how do I go viral? How do I do this? How do I? And then they have put all this resentment on it. And it's like, hang on a second. People still talk to each other.
yeah. I think word of mouth is still the most powerful networking tool that there is. That
Yeah.
can never be taken. Um,
And I love it because it's predicated on helping people and doing what you say you're going to do in your business.
yeah, and because you are showing up doing the Zoom call or the event, that's what
Mm,
makes people talk because they're like, this chick
yes.
always runs this thing. Like in Melbourne, a lot of people know about Pussy Palace because they're like,
Yeah.
have you been to that thing? And a lot of people are like, I don't know about that, but
Oh my God, that is so good. Have you heard of the app Sunroom?
yes, I
Oh,
have.
because I was going to say that I feel like that would be really cool for your business as well. Like they're a little bit more open to
They
like
are.
real ideas.
It's an epic business model. I do have to like cap my socials sometimes. I'm like, I feel good, but it is one
Mm,
I've definitely, it's there in my mind.
yes.
It's another bandwidth of energy.
I know, right? Because it is, and that's why I like to ask people what they're doing because it is funny when people are like, what do I do to grow? I'm like, well, kind of your options are limitless. Like you could just spend all day on every platform, writing content, creating videos, being on podcasts, running it. Like there's just so much. You
Totally.
really do have to kind of go, what am I going to focus on? What's in my world? What do I want to do here?
Yeah. And if I could say what I don't do, like I started doing a YouTube channel. I was like really committed to that. I'm really into it. I was like, I'm going to do a video a week or a video a fortnight, not sure. But yeah,
Mm.
one video I was teaching people how to watch ethical porn. Um,
Oh,
but I stuffed up and I put the links to some ethical porn sites and apparently and because it was a pornographic site, I got
yep.
a strike but I put three links and that was three
Oh,
strikes and so I got banned immediately.
no.
Immediately. And so I just was like, oh, I'd only just recovered from Instagram. I was like, no, nah, I'm not trying again. And then
Yep.
TikTok also, they're even more strict. And it was like such a nothing video and it got banned. And I was like, nah, not even trying
Yeah.
this one. So, I mean, people might not come up against the same issues as me, but just more when it's not flowing, like it just isn't
Yeah.
flowing. And so I was like, I'm not pushing. I'm happy. I've got 4 or 5 different streams that are going out there. Like I trust people are going to come in through all
Yes.
those.
Yeah, and like you said, like you keep showing up for people and it grows. And I love that you said your email list as well because that's the place you own, right? Like that is the platform that you own and that relationship and that conversation with those clients. So if anyone doesn't have an email list, do that today.
Definitely do that. So when I hear people don't have it, I'm like, you're crazy. Get a mailing list.
Yeah. It's wild, isn't it?
Yeah.
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 Oh, I love it so much. You are so incredible, Chloe. Thank you so much for spending your morning with us. Now, I always love to wrap up these podcasts with one last piece of advice. So, reflecting on your time in, well, life and business, what would be a piece of advice that you would give to another woman on her business journey?
Make sure you include some pleasure in your business. You're not here to burn out, to just constantly have a whip on your back. Like you did this because it's something I'm imagining that you love and that you feel called to give to the world. So let it be pleasurable for you as much as it is for those who are receiving it, because that will also be felt on the other end of the people who are engaging with your business.
Oh, I couldn't agree more. You are the best. Thank you so much for spending your morning with us. I know everyone, there were so many tips, so packed with value. I really appreciate you.
Yeah, I appreciate you and so nice to connect.
That wraps another episode of Spark TV. Shout out to Spark TV sponsor IP Australia for their amazing support of the Spark podcast and women in business. And if no one tells you today, you've got this.